The mystery behind Mara Sov's disappearance may have just been solved with some new Forsaken info. Now this information is found on some lore tabs from some Forsaken armor, which has some pretty heavy spoilers. So if you'd like to experience Forsaken's story in all of its glory, I recommend you click away from this video now.
My queen, you were right. The Guardian was the key. I have accepted my fate. I will not fail.
In Destiny's 2015 expansion The Taken King, Queen Mara Sov gathered her forces near Saturn's rings in an attempt to slow Oryx's progression on the system. Now, although that's what the goal looked like here, Mara actually had a master plan behind the scenes, which she was orchestrating with Eris Morn. So with all of these cards and interviews referencing the queen being alive, it made me wonder exactly how. Things like, was she transported somewhere else after her harbingers were deployed? So let's uncover these answers together. So Ginzor over on Reddit actually posted a really cool post with some leaked Forsaken armor, which is the Reverie Dawn Warlock set. But keep in mind, this is still a leak, and even if it is true, some dialogue may be changed in the final iteration we're going to see on September 4th. So I'm going to read each of the lore tabs and then we'll discuss it all afterwards, so definitely stick around for that. So first up we have the Reverie Dawn Hood. She waits. She trusts that Eris will shepherd the Guardians and that the infinite ambition of those undying half-children will deliver her. They will enter the court and challenge its king and dance in its killing ground, and they will master the school of the sword logic so mighty that they will overturn its teacher and forsake the crown. But soon may not be soon enough, because Oryx roams the hallowed spires and melancholy shores of the dreaming city. He stands looking out over the mist of her beautiful creation, and he laughs. She can feel him there like a thorn in the meat of her palm. She scolds herself for not factoring Shirochi's love into her design. Then she berates herself for this nervous energy, this fretful self-cannibalism. Lungless, Mara remembers the sensation of a deep breath, enacts it in her mind. She remembers the singularity before her, and she waits. Next, the Reverie Dawn Gloves. She travels across the Ascendant Plane. The voyage across a sea of screams threatens to erode her edges as no other trial ever has. In Oryx's throne world, she had a semblance of an identity, treasure, spoil of war, defeated queen. Repugnant and alien and not me, but she can use these contortions as guideposts to trace her way back to herself. Here in the emptiness between throne worlds, she has nothing but what she can carry. The burden is growing heavier, but she is not alone. He tries to speak to her from a place of high contempt. In doing so, he invites her into his topography. She steps out of howling and finds her footing upon a plane of swords and madness and all-consuming curiosity. The question summons an almost forgotten answer deep within the rapidly solidifying shape of her. I am Mara Sov. Starlight was my mother, and my father was the dark. The thing that was once called Toland flees before her darkness, light, shadow, majesty. And she rests within this scrap of a world before resuming her journey through the howling. Third, we have the Reverie Dawn Tabard. She feels Oryx's true death in both halves of her soul, a full imagined exhale before the aftershock reaches his throne world. It crumbles around her like stone, like ash, like veils in a breeze. Eris Morn's friends have succeeded. The Guardians have slain a god. She steps through the ruins. In the end, there is nothing. Nothing but Mara Sov in the howling of rampant, untamed logics. Her great and terrible gamble has paid off. The rest is up to her now. And lastly, the Reverie Dawn Boots. Joy wells in her heart when searching fingers trace the edges of Elusina. She has passed through the desert. She has reached the far side of the chessboard. She is alive, or soon will be. She opens the door and her joy dies on the threshold. Her throne is desecrated, not annihilated as Oryx's was. The pillars and terraces and courtyards still retain their shape, but the roots have rotted and the geometry festers. She should have known she would not be the only one to plan for such eventualities. Oryx's boot prints pucker like scars in the labyrinth that was once only her own. She sits a while beneath Jer's statue, then follows his tracks through the ruins of Alusina back to the Dreaming City. Revered Don Bon, she is home, but it is not the same. Shirochi has been taken, Kali and Sadia too, and Riven, she used to sit in the shade of those wings. He used to laugh at the riddles that rumbled in that mercurial throat. This creature is all teeth and broken promises, transformed by the expectations of another scheming, secretive sister. I cannot stay here. These are the first words that pass through this throat, her throat, though it shares none of the molecules that comprise the code of her former body. They scrape and ache as they pass through her lips, again, if only to remind herself that she is alive. I cannot stay here. So Guardians, those were some pretty crazy lore tabs, weren't they? Now I'm going to try and analyze this the best I can, summarizing those and going over them again, but definitely comment down below if we missed something. So first, let's start back with the hood. Here it appears we learn what Mara Sov's plan actually was. It says she trusts that Eris will shepherd the Guardians and that the ambition of those half-dying children will deliver her. So basically I read this as Eris knows the plan, the Guardians have to stop the Taken King, and these Harbingers she deployed are gonna teleport her somewhere else. It says they will enter the court and challenge its king and dance in its killing ground, and they will master the school of the sword logic so mighty they will overturn its teacher and forsake the crown. So the Harbingers being deployed into the Dreadnought weren't meant to explode the Dreadnought, you know what I mean, it's not meant to destroy it, but they were meant to overturn Oryx as the teacher and take the crown from Mara Sov herself. So sometime during all this, it seems Oryx visited the Dreaming City, and Mara realizes this is something that she should have planned for. She should have taken Shirochi's designs, and now to me it seems this area is open for whatever infection to just ensue. We then come to the Reverie Dawn gloves. It says she travels across the Ascendant Plane. So Mara Sov has used the Harbingers to teleport herself into the Ascendant Plane, somewhere around the Hive Abyss. She talks about being between Oryx's throne worlds and herself, so she's floating out there somewhere. In this Ascendant Plane, she has nothing but what she can carry. It seems she's not in her physical form anymore. I'm not sure what exactly it is. But in this area, she is not alone. Now, if you watch my previous video I just released, you know who's also here as well, and that's Toland the Shattered. So Toland was killed by the Death Singer back when they went into the Hellmouth to try to take out Crota, and he is now floating between these realms as well.
Now I fly between green-black suns in the labyrinth beyond Crota's Godstar. This is the overworld, the Sea of Screams, where the throne universes of the Great Hive fester in eternal majesty.
So it seems like she talks to him for a bit and then continues her journey onwards, which brings us to the Reverie Dawn tabard. Here it appears Oryx has truly died, and his realm crumbles around Mara like stone, ash, and veils in a breeze. The plan has succeeded. Erismorn and the Guardians have wiped out and slain the Taken King. Mara then steps to these ruins. In the end, there's nothing but the howling, rampant, untamed logic. The Guardians and Eris have done their part, the rest is up to Mara. So joy wells in her heart as she knows, hey, this plan's gonna work, everything's gonna be okay. She then goes back to her throne world, which is desecrated. It's not completely destroyed like Oryx's was, but the roots of this holy place have rotted and the geometry festers. This is again when she realizes she should have planned for this, Oryx's boot prints puckering the area, and something else we'll talk about in a minute here. She then follows his tracks through the ruins of Alusina back to the Dreaming City. Now here she realizes, hey, I'm home, but my Tekiyun, Shirochi, has been taken, as well as Kali and Sadia too. So her leaders and friends who helped deploy the Harbingers are now taken, and something called Riven is as well. So it seems to me this is confirming the fact that we will see an Ahamkara in the Dreaming City, and its name is Riven. This creature is all teeth and broken promises, transformed by the expectations of another scheming, secretive sister, which is probably Savathun. Mara then realizes she can't stay here and that this place is terribly corrupted. She's not in her physical form anymore, but she needs to get out of the area. So Guardians, how do you feel about all of that information? I'm so excited for Forsaken, and I wanted to bring this to you because, we cover all these theories and stories all the time about Mara and Toland, and having these lore tabs like this string it together is very nice. So links to those Reddit posts are down below if you'd like to read the lore for yourself, and I thank you so much for watching today's video. If you'd like to become a voice actor in my game, the link is down below. And with that being said, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.